This story is 101 and a half years old. At that time, there was not as much development as there is today. At that time, there were horses for travel, mud houses for living, and wood for burning. In a small town, there lived a cute, chubby little girl named Merlin, her mother Anne, and her grandfather Gilbert. Her grandmother had died last year. Now Anne and Gilbert ran a bakery together. Marilyn's father was in the army and had not heard from her for several months. Marilyn was now 6 years old. Uncle Robert used to run a tango in the town. One day, he said to Anne, "Anne, Marilyn is now 6 years old. She must be admitted to school." "Yes, Uncle Robert." "I think about it every day, but nowadays it has been 2 months since I have been doing it. I will definitely go and get admitted now." Anne took the bin from the tray and placed it on the shelf on the counter. "Yes, it is very important for her to go to school. Tomorrow I will pass by the school at 10 o'clock. If you want, you can walk with me, but be careful about the time. I am used to punctuality." Uncle Robert used to drop the school children off in his horse-drawn carriage in the morning, and later he would go to the vegetable market and load some goods on his horse-drawn carriage and bring them to the town. The next morning, Anne quickly arranged the buns and double breads on the shelf. She dressed Merlin in a clean pink frock. She tied a white ribbon in her blonde hair and made 2 ponytails. Uncle Robert arrived at the appointed time. She jumped happily and got into the carriage. Her mother Anne also sat down. Merlin started reciting a poem, reminding her of her mother. Anne took Merlin into the principal's office. The principal, Mrs. Clara, was a compassionate and kind woman. She asked Merlin for her and her father's names. Anne asked Mrs. Clara to recite the same poem to Merlin, which Merlin, after some hesitation, shyly listened to. Now Anne was filling out a form. Mrs. Clara asked Anne about her father's well-being, Merlin's father's letters, and her own well-being. The people in each house in the town knew a lot about each other, so both of them got busy talking. Meanwhile, Merlin left the principal's room and headed for the field. It was half-term break at school at that time. All the children were busy playing and eating. Merlin also started playing with 2 or 3 children, but after a while, because she felt hungry, she stopped playing and took an apple from her small bag and started eating. The teacher let her eat in class, saying, "Come on, it's the first day." So she gave her a break, but the other teacher didn't give her any concessions. They made Merlin stand outside the door. When she saw that the teacher was busy, she reached the playground. In a short time, she got tired and went out of the main door. The watchman standing at the main door had gone to ring the bell, but the door was empty. She had gone out without any obstacles. She thought that she would never come to this place again. She had never been to this part of the town before, so she lost her way and went to the other side. Now she was tired and started to feel sleepy. From a distance, she thought that Uncle Robert's horse-drawn carriage was parked. She moved quickly, but it was something different. Overwhelmed by sleep, she fell asleep on a pile of hay in the back of the carriage. When she opened her eyes, she found herself on a clean bed. This was actually the house of the owner of the horse carriage. He had gone a little way to get hay for his horse. On his return, he found a little girl sleeping in his carriage. Merlin was very deep in sleep, so she did not wake up even if she was woken up. They put Merlin on one side and put bundles of hay. She woke up only when she was refreshed after a full night of sleep. Merlin jumped out of bed and went to the other side of the house. Outside the room was a large courtyard. An old woman was probably cooking something with her face towards the stove. The evening was getting late. This meant that she had been sleeping for a long time. Merlin was familiar with most of the people in the town, so she was not at all frightened to find herself here. She told the old woman that she was hungry. The old woman told her to wait. The old woman's attitude was a bit reserved, while she had always received love from every house in the story. Today she was appreciating her home, her mother, and her grandfather. Today she was realizing that life is not just about comfort. Some people's lives are very difficult. She was experiencing this by looking at this old woman. When the old woman and the old man put food in front of her, she burst into tears, but its taste was not that special. It was a strange thin soup with dry buns. She had always eaten hot, crispy, and fresh buns and had often wasted food. After eating, the old man asked Merlin for the address of her house, but she did not know the address. She said, "I can tell." Grandpa didn't get angry today either. The elder brother narrated the whole incident and apologized for not being able to reach him due to the late night. After this incident, Merlin promised herself that in the future she would not waste food or be ungrateful. She also came to know the value of her comfortable home. Now she had also made up her mind to go to school every day and get an education.